Hello, everyone. Today's topic is characteristics of people whose kindness goes unrewarded, what Buddhism teaches. Probably everyone has experienced having their acts of kindness go unrecognized or unappreciated. Buddhism encourages people to act with kindness towards others, saying that it is a good deed that brings good result. Why then do some acts of kindness seem to go unrewarded? It can be deeply discouraging and frustrating to have this happen. Buddhism teaches that everything has a cause, and that the cause of everything that happens to us must be within us ourselves, including this. If we don't take an honest look at that cause, then we'll only keep on having our acts of kindness go unrepaid. So today, let us explore two major reasons why our kindness might be unappreciated and how to fix them. Let us see what kind of insight Buddhism can offer regarding the characteristics that leave us vulnerable to being exploited by others. We will go through these 2 points. 1. The 3 fields. 2. The importance of boundaries. It's certainly not uncommon to hear tales of kind people being taken advantage of or exploited, and it's easy for that kind of thing to happen to us, too. Let's say, for instance, that you've got to be up early for work tomorrow, but your friend calls you up late at night to vent about their troubles. You were planning to go to bed soon, so you hope they'll make it quick, but they just go on and on and on. Before you know it, it's past midnight and they're still not done. Alternatively, maybe a family member borrows $1,000 from you, but they never pay you back. In fact, they seem to completely forget you lent them anything at all. This leaves you frustrated and stressed out. At work, you might find your colleague dumps all the tedious tasks onto you, and as your workload piles up with more and more things to do, you start to dread going into work. Then when you get home, you've got to feed the kids, and you've also got to go and take care of your elderly in-laws, since you live the closest to them and the rest of the family figured you'd be best suited for the job. There are probably many people out there who feel a need to avoid letting people down and end up running around desperately trying to appease everyone in this way. As a result, though, they end up being taken advantage of. However, it's not always intentional or out of malice that others treat them this way. They might just be seen as a reliable go-to person for favors, and others simply don't think about how that person might actually be feeling about the situation. Now, Buddhism teaches that kindness or giving is one of the 6 paramitas, which are 6 virtuous acts of goodness that both benefit others and bring happiness to the self. If people can end up being taken advantage of precisely because they're trying hard to be kind to everyone, though, doesn't that mean that the Buddhist teaching that kindness brings happiness is wrong? Well, no, actually. You see, an important aspect of the Buddhist practice of kindness is being mindful of who you give your kindness to. This is something that might be missing from your own practice. In order for your acts of giving to truly benefit one and all, Buddhism teaches, you should direct your generosity towards 3 kinds of people called the 3 fields. The 3 fields are the field of respect, the field of gratitude, and the field of compassion. They are called fields because a field is where you plant seeds, and every act of giving towards these people is like a seed that will grow into wonderful fruit. If you try planting seeds in concrete, they won't grow at all, but if you plant them in an appropriate spot, like a field, you will reap an abundant harvest. In the same way, if you choose the recipients of your acts of giving wisely, your kindness will bring happiness to both the other person and you. So, what are these fields? The field of respects means those who have virtue worthy of respect. The field of gratitude means those whose kindness you are indebted to. The field of compassion is those who are going through hardship and could do with some help. Buddha taught that these are the kinds of people you should give to. Instead of giving all you have to give to everyone indiscriminately, always ask yourself, does this person count as one of the three fields? One time, a Japanese TV show secretly filmed the moment a famous comedian was asked by her mother to lend her $50,000. Everybody expected her to be shocked and ask her mother what she needed all that money for. But then the comedian took everyone by surprise when she just agreed to it with no qualms whatsoever and loaded up her banking app on her phone to send the money right away. She later said that the reason why she was so willing to give such a large sum of money to her mother was that her mother had worked so hard to raise her, and she felt so grateful for all she had done for her. It seemed only right to help her in whatever way she could do now as an adult. This is an example of giving to the field of gratitude. If you're mindful of all the kindness a person has given you, giving to them is easy. You won't even expect anything back because it feels like you're merely repaying them anyway. Now, what about that colleague piling task upon task on you? Is this someone who has truly earned your respect? Do you owe them a debt of gratitude? Are they genuinely in need right now? Or do none of these things apply? Next time, before you go ahead and do them that extra favor, consider this carefully. Giving is good, but only if you're giving wisely. If you give indiscriminately, you may end up doing yourself more harm than good. So, be careful when choosing who to give to and how much. Often, when we're considering who to give to, what we're thinking about is solely what we can gain from that person. The prospect of getting nothing in return for our act of giving can put us off from giving altogether. If we find someone attractive, we may hope that showering them with gifts and compliments will win their affections. If someone is rich and successful, we may hope that sucking up to them will mean we'll get to share in their wealth and spending power. Buddhism, however, emphasizes the importance of genuine mutual benefit from acts of giving, and it specifies the fields of respect, gratitude, and compassion as the kinds of people we should give to, precisely because doing so will bring happiness both to the other person and to us. Another important thing to keep in mind when it comes to acts of kindness is maintaining healthy boundaries. For instance, while you might accept a call from a friend at night if it's not a genuine emergency, then you'll need to let them know at what time you'll have to put the phone down and put it down at that time. If you host a Zoom conference and someone has a personal matter they want to discuss, you can set a time to discuss it with them outside of the meeting when it's convenient for the both of you. This allows you to keep to the topic at hand in the allotted meeting time and lend an ear to the person. Sometimes, though, there are just too many people wanting your time, in which case you will need to prioritize or just outright politely decline some people's requests. There is only so much you can do, and you won't be able to please everyone. That's okay. Do only what you are able to do and avoid overstretching yourself. If, say, you upload a video to YouTube and it ends up getting a lot of comments, although it'd be nice to be able to respond to each one, you don't have to. If there are questions you can answer, then go ahead and answer them if you have the time to do so. Do make sure, though, that you don't waste your time and energy on hate comments, as tempting as it might be. If you get a phone call from some random person you don't know, you're not obliged to answer them. And if it seems like a spam call or a nuisance caller, you can just block the number and carry on with your day. You only have so much time and energy, and you can't do everything for everyone that demands it of you, so make sure you set boundaries and stick with them. If someone wants to borrow money from you, consider first how much financial leeway you have, and also how likely the person is to give your money back to you. It's okay to say no if you're not in a position to be lending them money for whatever reason. If you can give them money, though, you might consider simply gifting it to them rather than loaning it so that neither of you have to worry about it later. But only if that seems a sensible option to you. If someone wants you to take on extra work, consider how you're coping with your current workload. Never take on more than what you can deal with. If you take on too many extra tasks, you won't be able to put your all into your main work, and you'll end up tired, drained, and behind. Focus on what is most important and decline anything that is beyond what you can do right now. Saying no takes courage, but having that courage is essential. If your family members want you to take care of an elderly relative, make sure you only agree to what is within the realm of your capabilities. It might help to set particular days for visiting that relative and have other relatives take up that duty on other days. In any case, you need to know your limits and set boundaries. It is really important to remember that you were not born solely to please others. You have your own needs, and these might well be different from another person's needs. That doesn't make your needs invalid. Likewise, other people were not born to please you, and while it is important to stand up for yourself, it is also important to be considerate of other people's needs while you do so. Don't just discount them entirely. Other people don't have the right to use you as they wish, and you don't have the right to use others as you wish. What we need to keep in mind is that each one of us has an important purpose to accomplish, and that is where we should be focusing our time and energy. Not on running around doing every little thing that someone else wants us to do. Doing acts of kindness for others is a great thing, but make sure you have boundaries in place first. If you don't, you'll end up overextending yourself, and that's how you end up miserable instead of happy despite doing what is supposed to be a good deed. Today we learned about 2 reasons why your kindness might go unrewarded. 1. You've not been selective enough when it comes to who to give to. 2. You've not got firm enough boundaries in place. So then, what you can do from now on is keep in mind Buddhist teaching of the 3 fields and set and maintain healthy boundaries. Give to the fields of respect, gratitude, and compassion, and have the courage to say no when you're being asked to give more than what you're capable of giving. In order to really know your limits, you'll need to know yourself and your purpose in life. Once you have a firm grasp on your own true nature and what it is that you really live to accomplish, you'll be able to take back control of your life, avoid being taken advantage of, and give in a way that benefits both others and yourself. This channel examines a variety of topics that everyone can relate to from a Buddhist point of view. If you're interested in learning more, why don't you hit that subscribe button so you can be notified whenever we release a new video? Thank you for watching.